So, any doubts or any concerns from previous class regarding availability set? Again, I will repeat this a very important concept. So, availability set is nothing but logically grouping your virtual machine and isolating from physical nodes. Isolating from each physical node. I mean to say, one virtual machine will be distributed across same data set in a cluster, in a particular in a cluster distributed across within a cluster with the multiple physical nodes by the combination of fault domains and update domains. How many fault domains and how many update domains you configure, based on that it will be distributed into the multiple physical nodes. Okay, so what are the capabilities of fault domain?
Hardware failures,
Okay,
network failure, or power supply.
mean to say unplanned maintenance. We never know what will be happen. Okay, we never know when power fails. We never know when disk fails. All this we do call it as a unplanned maintenance. So under as part of unplanned maintenance, if you have the disk failure or power failure, the entire rack will be failed. Why? Because the power and the network switch associated with one particular rack. So due to power issue or network issue or disk issue, the entire rack is no more available. In that scenario, we do have the same replica of the physical node with another rack. That is the fault domain. So coming to the update domains, the update domains will be treated as a planned maintenance. What do you mean by planned maintenance? So the planned maintenance are nothing but you can have when your machines reboots, you know when the maintenance will be happening. So with that you can manage your machines using the update domain. The update domains are placed with the multiple fault domains. Multiple fault domains with the update domain. Okay, to manage the updates of your virtual machines, operating system updates, security updates. So you can protect it from the planned maintenance. So as part of this update domains, you have all the update domains will not be reboot at the same time. All the machines under one update domain will be reboot together. Okay, if all the update domains will be reboot, what will be happen? Again, there is no high availability. Okay, that could be the reason. One after one. One update domain will be update. Then after second update domain will be rebooted. So this is one after one update domains will be rebooted together. Okay. So this is about the availability sets. Very simply, the availability sets only applicable for particular data center. This is the availability set concept is only for a data center specific. Let's assume that if data center fails, if data center fails, what will be happen? So if something goes wrong with your data center, or maybe it's hit with a natural disaster like hurricanes or floods, whatever it may be, else it went to the maintenance. In 2017 January 2017 January 18th it seems, almost 18th or 19th, Microsoft went unplanned maintenance.
Some Intel problem.
Some Intel and AMD Athlon chipset issues in 2017 January. Ransomware. Exactly. So they found out that Intel company and AMD company found out that there is their chips going to hit with a ransomware. So here, where do we get the notifications from Microsoft? We do have the notification bar, right? The bell symbol. So Microsoft sent a notification that hey, so we are going for planned maintenance.
Unplanned.
No, planned maintenance within 15 minutes.
Okay.
Next 15 minutes we are going for the maintenance. That is the planned maintenance. Unplanned maintenance, no one can know it when it will be
But
happening.
suddenly they should not see.
Yeah. So it is a planned maintenance for the Microsoft, but unplanned maintenance for the customers. If you say that within the 15 minutes we are going for the maintenance, how do they can manage? Right. So Microsoft went for the planned maintenance by sending an all the notification to all the customers. So most of the customers miss that notification. So Microsoft went and changed to protect their AMD Athlon and Intel chipboards. They changed this and protected from the vulnerability and ransomware. So all the data centers, most of the data centers went for the maintenance more than 24 hours. More than 24 hours. So in that scenario, how do you protect? How do you get your application and data should be still available? Even though if you have some high availability concepts you enable using availability sets within the particular data center, if entire data center is not available due to maintenance or due to natural disasters, the cause will be whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. Still, how do you get your data? That is the question here. Okay, so who are implemented? Who are implemented these high availability concepts? Premium storage, those customers are not affected. ఎవరైతే వదిలేశారో they don't care about the high availability, those are all the customers are affected because of this maintenance. Because of this maintenance. Again, who are affected with 24 hours with that? Who are all eligible? Who are all the customers are eligible for the payback? Microsoft has given the refund back to all the customers. Why? Because it's not a problem with the customer, it's a problem from the Microsoft. So Microsoft has paid to all the customers who implemented high availability with affected, who affected even though they implemented the high availability. So who are all not part of these availability sets, Microsoft would not bother about them. Why? Because they're not yet configured. So there is no point of getting the high availability. So as part of SLA, okay. So once if they are not implemented any high availability such as availability sets, what is the SLA? 99.9, just 99.9% only. If it is a availability sets, 95. 99.95%. If data center fails, this 99.95% is not at all applicable. In this scenario, we have a concept called availability zones. This concept is newly implemented a year ago, almost 15 months ago. So the availability zones is nothing but based on your region. Based on your region, the disks which you are going to select for the storing of your data that can be replicated within the region. Within the region. So India is a region or not?
to 3 regions.
India region. India is a country as part of South India region, South Asia, sorry. India is not at all a region. If you go to US, within the US they have 3 regions. Okay, as part of the region, we have the data center, that is the zones. Region. Okay, this is one zone, one zone, one zone. In one zone, we have 3 regions that are East US data center, East US 2 data center, and West US data center. Okay, so
Maps we can see in website.
it's mean so that could be the reason they protected with chip level boards, chip boards. అంటే ఆ పర్టికులర్ గా ర్యాన్సమ్ వేరు ఆ ఇంటెల్ తర్వాత ఏఎండి చిప్స్ కి మాత్రమే అటాక్ అవుతుందని దే ఫౌండ్ ఇట్. సో అవి ఇమీడియట్ గా చేంజ్ చేసేది అంతే. అన్ని రీజన్స్ కి అవుతుంది, బట్ ఇప్పుడు ఆల్రెడీ దే హ్యావ్ ద నియర్లీ బిల్ట్ డేటా సెంటర్ విత్ లేటెస్ట్ చిప్ బోర్డ్స్, సో అది ఎఫెక్ట్ అవ్వదు. సో దట్ కుడ్ బి ద రీజన్. వాట్ ఆర్ ద అంటే అన్ని ఇంటెల్ చిప్ బోర్డ్స్ కి అవుతుందని ఎఫెక్ట్ అవుతుందని డజంట్ మీన్ ఇట్. పర్టికులర్ వర్షన్ ఆఫ్ ద చిప్ బోర్డ్స్ in Intel or AMD, there is chance of getting the ransomware for that particular chipboards, that particular version of the chipboards. So because of it, they went for the unplanned maintenance and updated all the hardware.
ఏ కంట్రీస్
ఇది సౌత్ ఏషియాలో, అదే మన సౌత్ ఏషియాలో జరిగింది, యూకేలో జరిగింది, యుఎస్లో జరిగింది.
ఒక జోన్ ఒక వర్షన్
అలాని కాదు అన్నప్పుడు. దట్ వాట్ ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్ దట్ ఇస్ సి ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఇస్ ఈస్ట్ యుఎస్ డేటా సెంటర్, దిస్ ఇస్ ద వెరీ ఓల్డ్ డేటా సెంటర్. సో ఇన్ దట్ టైమ్ దే మైట్ హ్యావ్ దిస్ ఓల్డ్ చిప్ సెట్స్. న్యూలీ డేటా సెంటర్ ఆఫ్రికాలో న్యూలీ కొత్తగా బిల్డ్ చేశారు. దట్ డేటా సెంటర్ మేబీ హ్యావ్ ద న్యూ ఎక్విప్మెంట్ విత్ న్యూ హార్డ్వేర్. దట్ మైట్ బి ద రీజన్, that might be the reason. So coming to this East US data center has the most traffic. ఎందుకంటే ఈస్ట్ యుఎస్ డేటా సెంటర్ ఈజ్ నియరెస్ట్ రీజన్ ఆఫ్ ద సిలికాన్ వ్యాలీ. సిలికాన్ వ్యాలీ అంటే ఏంటి?
ఎక్కువ సిటీస్,
ఎక్కువ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ కంపెనీస్ ఉన్న ఏరియా. సో ఆల్ ఆఫ్ ద కంపెనీస్ గోయింగ్ టు హిట్ దిస్ ఈస్ట్ యుఎస్ డేటా సెంటర్. So Microsoft is not at all recommending to use this data center at all. Why? Because this data center has more hits. Ante akkada place లేదు ఇంకా. So that is the reason they came up with the East US 2, which is very similar with very nearest data centers for the region. Okay, about that. So under the particular region we have 3 zones. This is the zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. Okay, let's assume that you, as of now, you are using this East US data center. You hosted your all your servers. So for the data high availability, data resiliency is nothing but for to access accurately. So this data will be, these particular virtual machines and data will be replicated to the East US and West US based on your selection. If I select one, then one select చేసుకుంటే it will be go and deploy into the any one of the data center as a replica. If I select two, the replica will be two zones. Even though if you have any natural disasters like floods or hurricanes, whatever it may be, still you can get the data from the other data center. How the data is replicating, that is a matter here. See, if you have virtual machine in this East US data center, how the data is going to store into the other data center, other zones. So, the concept called premium storage. The premium storage is nothing but your data will be replicated with the multiple regions. Why? Because every data center has their own cooling capacity, network setup. Each and every data center has own network setup with a cooling capacity. This each and every data center network interrelatedly communicated with the other data center. Each data center has own network setup. That own network setup interrelatedly communicated with the other data center. Adi manaku kanapadu. They have their own setup to intercommunicate between all the data centers. If you look at the diagram, if you look at the diagram, these are all the interrelatedly communicated with one data center with the other data center. When you deploy any data or virtual machine associated with the data, automatically replicated to the other data center when you choose this premium storage. The premium storage will be managed and the premium storage will be comes with managed disk. So where you have seen this managed disk option? No. So while you create the virtual machine, what is the next blade? The next blade is a disks. Under the disk, if you go for the advanced, there you can see the managed disk, yes or no. What is that? If you say yes to the managed disk only, then you could get this availability zone option. Else, you don't get it. Why? Because your data, the disk which you are going to deploy in that particular virtual machine, that will be managed by the Microsoft, then only the data can be replicated to the multiple data centers. Else, you have to manage your data. You have to manage your storage. Then you need to create your own storage account. Then you need to manage your storage account. Then how do you manage to replicate your data into the multiple data centers? It's not possible for us. That could be the reason we have to use managed disks. The managed disks are as a premium storage. The data will be replicated with multiple data centers with high resiliency. High resiliency. I mean to say accurately, very accurately, without any latency. You could be able to get the data from the other data center even though your primary data center fails. Getting it or not? So this is how the availability zones will be work. Okay. So as of now, how many high availability options we have? Availability sets and availability zones. Using availability zones work based on the premium storage. Clear? So that is a very simple concept. Using primary availability zones and using premium storage, you could get 99.99%. That is the SLA that is the high availability SLA of the using availability zones. Your data will be replicated to multiple regions based on the choose your region. Okay. Now just go back and create the availability zones. Clear so far? Any concerns? It is very important. So whenever you work with Docker or Kubernetes also, అవన్నీ ఎక్కడ ఉండాలి again virtual machine. So when you work with or DevOps, when you work with the infra, these are all the mandatory things. Okay. Being as a DevOps engineer, you might not about this. You might not know about this. Going forward in the next 1 year, 1.5 year, you must have this. Why? Because going forward there will be no DevOps. I'm sure about it. Okay.
OS కూడా వచ్చింది సార్, Azure DevOps and OS కూడా వచ్చింది.
That is the SaaS component. అదే ఇప్పుడు మనం చూస్తాం నెక్స్ట్. As part of DevOps, అదే మనం నెక్స్ట్ ఇక్కడ ఎక్స్ప్లోర్
2019.
That is the server. That is the 2000 DevOps 2000 server is
Azure
nothing
DevOps
but a
server.
TFS, Team Foundation server. So as part of this course, we do talk about the SaaS component. That is just like a Gmail. ఇప్పుడు మన SaaS ఎగ్జాంపుల్ అంటే జస్ట్ జీమెయిల్ మనం ఏం చేస్తాం, జస్ట్ లాగిన్ అండ్ లాగౌట్ వాట్ ఆర్ ద జస్ట్ లైక్ సింపుల్ థింగ్. Just we do log into the DevOps portal and we do configure the CI/CD and that's it. Very simple. Okay. Nowadays everyone is preferring to use that.
What is TFS?
Team Foundation server. So Team Foundation server is nothing but which we do configure the build and release purpose. So that is, I mean to say, that is very simple difference between IaaS and a PaaS. So when I referring to the SaaS as Azure DevOps, you don't need to worry about your infrastructure and application, DevOps application and everything. Whereas coming to the TFS, you have to manage your VM, you have to manage your operating system, you have to manage your application as a TFS.
బట్ అందులోనే అన్ని వచ్చేస్తున్నాయి కదా సార్, లైక్ ప్రొడక్ట్.
It's a simple product. అన్ని అంటే ఏంటి? TFS application at the same time with the SQL Server DB. Once you spin up it, automatically it will create a virtual machine with all the prerequisites of the TFS. But ultimately you have to manage it, being as a virtual machine. So that is the difference between Azure DevOps service, as a server. When you say server, it's completely IaaS. When you say service, it's completely SaaS. Okay, let me go back. Machines. First, let me delete my machines.
Azure Data Factory data analysis కూడా ఇంప్రూవ్ అవుతుంది సార్ బాగా.
అంటే that what? I'll tell you. Okay. So Azure లో ADF అంటే say data factory ADL data lake. Okay. Same similar concept. BigQuery, Grafana, Prometheus. So as part of మీ requirement ఏంటి? Just the requirement is have the huge data. Using that data you want to process the data for the ETL purpose. Once you're done with the ETL, then from the ETL data you have to create the analytics, right? So how much cost is associated with here? So data lake in the future serve to store the data.
SSRS.
Here, what is
SSRS, yeah, SSRS, SSIS,
IS data factory.
data factory SSIS, that one. So SSRS is from the reporting analysis purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, from you are collecting all the data in a folder format with unlimited scaling, we will use the Azure Data Lake. You mean to say, just take all the data and rendering with the ETL, extraction, transformation and loading and store into the Azure Data Lake. From the data lake, you can take the data and create the analytics using Power BI or Tableau or ClickView, whatever it may be.
బట్ ఓన్గా కూడా మనం కోడింగ్ యూఎస్కి రాసి చేయొచ్చు సార్.
So the USQL part comes under here only. You have to write your USQL queries to do the ETL activities. To do the ETL activities, you have to write a USQL in Azure Data Factory. Okay. Then coming to here,
అంటే ఇది ఇంక్రీజ్ అవుతుంది ఇది అవుతుంది సార్.
ఇది అవుతుంది as part of. ఎందుకు అంటే so who are doing the yes
Prashant, here one correction here. We need to write USQL in Azure Data Lake, not in Data Factory. Data Factory used to perform ETL operations. If you want, we can use USQL activity in our Azure Data Factory. We can use it. But if you want to perform any operations in related to Data Lake, we need to write USQL USQL coding in Azure Data Lake only, especially like combination of C# plus SQL language. USQL mean.
That is fine. So some part of activities you have to write USQL in Data Factory also. I don't deny the fact that USQL not only for Azure Data Lake. You have to write USQL sometimes in a Data Factory as well to create the lookups, to create the fact tables. Sometimes you have to write USQL there itself. So how do you create the fact table without writing the USQL in Data Factory? So that is the mandatory thing. So I don't deny the fact, but USQL can be used in both only Data Lake and Data Factory. It's completely depends upon the situation. Okay?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Thank you, Prashant. Yeah.
So coming to the GCP. So who are all doing the analytics part, they might have the huge data like petabytes of the data. like 100 petabytes or 150 petabytes. As part of this, coming to this, data lake is used to have the capability have to store all the data for the analytics purpose. Coming to the data storage access is very high in Azure. Cost. So how the Microsoft is charging the ingress and egress of the data, right? They don't bother about how much data you are storing into that. ఇక్కడ ఒక చిన్న లాజిక్ ఏంటి, సో బై ఇంక్రీసింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద డేటా ఓన్లీ యు ఆర్ స్టోరింగ్ ద డేటా ఇంటూ అదర్ స్టోరేజ్, రైట్? సో ఫర్ దట్ ఆల్సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు పే. When you are accessing it, you have to pay, but they don't worry about how much data you are storing into it. So whereas coming to the GCP, as part of BigQuery, you can dump bulk data very for the less cost. Moreover, these two are free, Grafana and Prometheus. These are the open source monitoring tools. Everyone is using that only. Recent past, Google acquired a company called Looker. Looker is used to create the analytics, just like a Power BI. That also free. Whereas coming to how do you create the analytics using the Power BI, right? Here it is not a free. Again, you have to pay for the as a what I can say enterprise. So if you compare all this, GCP is a very less. So as part of data science, nowadays everyone is looking at GCP. So that is the reason మీ ఇప్పుడు కస్టమర్ క్లౌడ్కి వెళ్ళాలనుకున్నప్పుడు వాట్ ఈస్ హిజ్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ, వెదర్ AWS is great, I would like to go for AWS only. If the customer think like that, he will be the victim end of the day. So we have to understand that what are the other clouds available, what are the other services. If you compare with GCP, AWS and Azure, they are providing the same high availability, same SLS. There is no much difference. The data accuracy and the connectivity will be the same. Everything is same. So but you have to choose what is your right cloud for your need. ఇప్పుడు డేటా సైన్స్ అంటే బీయింగ్ యాజ్ ఆర్కిటెక్ట్ ఐ డూ రెఫర్ టు గో విత్ GCP ఓన్లీ. అలా ఉంటాయి కొన్ని రిక్వైర్మెంట్స్. బేస్డ్ ఆన్ దట్ కుడ్ యూ కెన్ చూస్ ద ఓన్ క్లౌడ్. ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ ఫెమిలియర్ విత్ వన్ క్లౌడ్, మీరు మూడిటి మీద ఈజీగా పనిచేసేయచ్చు. జస్ట్ ద నేమ్స్ విల్ డిఫర్, దట్స్ ఇట్. All the concept and the working nature of the back end will be very similar.
But GCP లో కోడింగ్ ఎక్కువ
మీరు కోడింగ్ ఎక్కడ పడినా అలానే వస్తుంది. సో వెన్ యూ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ యాక్సెస్ ఫిజికల్లీ, యూ హ్యావ్ టు రైట్ ద కమాండ్. అది కామన్ ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళినా. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద రీజన్ గోయింగ్ ఫార్వర్డ్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు బి వెరీ ఫెమిలియర్ విత్ వన్ స్క్రిప్టింగ్. ఆ స్క్రిప్టింగ్ రాదు అంటే ఇట్ డజంట్ వర్క్ అవుట్ హియర్. Okay, so now
GCP లో ఏం స్క్రిప్టింగ్ యూస్ చేస్తారు? ఇప్పుడు హాస్టల్ వచ్చి Azure కి
వాళ్ళు గో లాంగ్వేజ్ వాడతారు. గూగుల్ లాంగ్వేజ్. సో విచ్ ఈస్ వెరీ ఫాస్టర్ దాన్ యాక్చువల్లీ జావాకి .NET కి డిఫరెన్స్ ఏంటి? .NET ఈస్ వెరీ ఫాస్టర్ దాన్ జావా. ఇప్పుడు .NET కంటే గో లాంగ్వేజ్ ఇంకా ఫాస్ట్ ఉంటుంది. But here Google has their own command line. Our command lines ఇవ్వాలి. Okay, so by gaining the experience, you could get all these things one by one slowly. Okay, now spin up the virtual machine. Obviously. So all of you interviews lo em adutunnaru, even though if you are Azure guy, they would ask you that are you familiar with AWS. So ఇప్పుడు AWS కి ఒకరిని Azure కి ఒకరిని తీసుకోలేరు. So obviously. So once you are familiar with the one cloud, you can manage with other cloud very easily. Okay. Select the resource group. Then Windows VM. Now, what is our region? South India. See, availability zone is no more available. Why? Because India is it's not a region. It's not at all a region. So just change your region. So now it is available. Okay, select availability zone as part of zone. See, we have as part of central US, they have three regions, three data centers. So whether you would like to go for one or two. If you select one, the replica of the data will be available with along with East Central US. There is another data center. You could get the data from the other data center. If you select two, along with another data center, total 3 replicas. If you select 3, total 4 replicas. That's how the data will be underlyingly distributed across the multiple fault domains, update domains with different regions. Okay. Now select one. Windows. Windows. Just I am giving the casual names. In a real time, the VM's name should not be very perfect. This should not be like this. Okay.
VMs also it's not EMEA and EMEA PRD something like
That. That's all. So here, as part of this, I do go for C. This is the premium. So when you say premium, the data and the high resiliency of the data will be available for you for the accurately. So when you talk about storage, we will discuss more about it. So as of now, I will go for the standard HDD for the low cost. Here you have the advanced features. Here you need to say use managed disk. Yes, if you say no, see why you have there you have selected availability zone. If you say if there you don't select availability zone, then it will allow you to choose no. ఎందుకంటే it is interrelated associated with your availability zone with the managed disk. The managed disk is nothing but a premium storage to replicate the data into the multiple fault domains and multiple update domains with the different regions, different zones. Clear? If I say no, then it will ask you to create one storage account. That storage account should be managed by you only. If I say yes, all the data on your disk will be managed by Microsoft itself. Okay, disk files and everything will be managed by Microsoft itself. You don't need to worry about it. So that's how the data will be replicated. So coming to the network. So then you might get one doubt here. You might get one doubt here saying that this particular virtual network associated with the central US, then how does the virtual machine and the data will go and deploy into the other region? So as I told that each and every zone has their own network capability and interrelatedly communicated with the other zone data center, and it will place with that. Now just create.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, we are creating multiple zones for backup, right? Just for backup for the
Yes,
data.
for the data high availability.
Okay. Actually, in AWS also we use different availability zones for data backup.
Yeah, same thing. The same availability zone concept is there in AWS as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So that what all the clouds has the same similar features. Almost names will be different. That's it. So might some Azure has some extra features. That's it. ఇప్పుడు అందరూ అజూర్ ఎందుకు వాడుతున్నారు అంటే కొంచెం దే హ్యావ్ సమ్ ఎక్స్ట్రా ఫీచర్స్ ఎక్స్ట్రా ఫీచర్స్ సో లైక్ మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ రీసెంట్లీ కేమ్ అప్ విత్ అజూర్ ఆర్క్ యూ క్యాన్ మేనేజ్ యువర్ ఆన్ ప్రెమిసెస్ ఇన్ఫ్రా విత్ ద క్లౌడ్ ఓన్లీ దట్ ఈస్ ద గ్రేటెస్ట్ ఫీచర్ రీసెంట్ గా రిలీజ్ చేశారు సో ద కమింగ్ టు ద న్యూ రిలీజెస్ మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ ఈస్ ఫార్ బెటర్ దాన్ విత్ AWS అండ్ గూగుల్
అంటే మనం లాగిన్ అయ్యి అజూర్లో లాగిన్ అయ్యి
మీ ఆన్ ప్రెమిసెస్ VMs ని కూడా మేనేజ్ చేయొచ్చు సో దెర్ ఇస్ ఏ కాన్సెప్ట్ కాల్
ఇక్కడే ఉంటుంది ఆ ఫీచర్ ఆర్క్ అనేది.
Arc. See, organize and govern all your servers. It is only for your servers, or you want to go for Kubernetes clusters or data services. Assume that your all the data is on premises. You want to do the ETL activities over the cloud. Obviously. So just manage the servers. So create the machine in Azure Arc. Then add machines and interactive script. Add machines and scripts. So generate the script and run it your on-premises machine. Then it will closely interact with that. How you are creating the connectivity. The connectivity will be managed by the Microsoft again in the backbone network. We do call it as. Okay. ఇవన్నీ నెక్స్ట్ బిగ్ థింగ్స్ ఇన్ ద మార్కెట్ సో ఇక్కడ ఏముంది టు కనెక్ట్ మెషిన్స్ both from on-premises and other clouds to Azure.
AWS లింక్ ఇస్తాం.
Obviously. So, but AWS don't have this feature.
ఆ క్రెడెన్షియల్స్ అక్కడ ఉండేటువంటి ఇక్కడ ఇస్తే
It's very simple. By deploy, just generate this script. Mean to say you are creating one agent. If you deploy that agent in your on-premises machine, the agent seamlessly communicate with your Azure cloud. So from Azure cloud, then you can manage that VM. Whether it is on-premises or Google VM or AWS VM, it doesn't matter. That is the greatest advantage of this Azure Arc. Just 2 weeks ago, Satyanathan employee announced this in Ignite. So there are other great features available. So earlier we don't have feasibility called SIEM. The SIEM only monitoring has this. What can one of the best monitoring tools in the
స్కామ్
SCAM is not a monitoring.
థర్డ్ పార్టీ సోలార్ వింగ్స్ Nagios.
Hmm?
Nagios.
Nagios. Okay, Nagios.
Tripwire.
Sorry?
Tripwire.
No. I forgot. I'll tell you later. 1 second. So what in replace చేయడానికి కూడా Microsoft came up with the Azure Sentinel. Azure Sentinel is one of the greatest feature to monitor with the SCM capabilities. Security alerts also can able to monitor.
Third party.
Hmm?
Third party.
Third party.
Topmost solar inside.
There are Datadog, Sonaris, Nagios, multiple tools in the monitoring. You don't believe each and every company has their own tool for the monitoring. ఇవి బెస్ట్ టూల్స్ అని మనం చెప్పడానికి లేదు. Okay, let's go back to virtual machines. There you could see if you go and check here availability, you don't see that we are not yet implemented the availability sets. Okay, see what is the availability zone? What? So automatically what are the data which you are going to store this VM automatically replicated to the other zone as well. If this VM has any issues or if this entire data center has any issues, you don't need to worry. Still the underlying application and SQL data or Oracle data still you can able to access from it. That we will talk about later. That is another biggest concept in our future law also. We'll talk one by one. Okay, clear so far? This is how the availability zones and availability sets used to protect from the disasters. I mean to say, very simple, for the high availability purpose. Okay, any issues or any concerns? Any concerns related to this? Okay, so if you don't have any issues, again from tomorrow onwards we are going back to networking. So try to work with Linux machines mostly. Windows Windows everyone knows. Elementary school will manage it. So now the concept is Microsoft is recommending to have at least level 200 knowledge on Linux machines. Okay, so how do you connect Windows VM using RDP? So whereas coming to the Linux machines, you have to use SSH using the putty. So మీరు ఏం చేస్తారంటే ప్రతి ఒక్కరు డౌన్లోడ్ ద పుట్టి, కొంతమంది పట్టి అంటారు, పుట్టి అంటారు, ఇట్స్ కంప్లీట్లీ యువర్ విష్. ఓకే, సో ఇది పుట్టి అంటే ఇలా ఉంటుంది. Mobile stuff. There are multiple SSH tools. So, but accurately, putty is very good. Okay, so what you do, just work with Linux machines. So let me spin up one. Let me delete this. Credentials అయిపోతున్నాయి నాకు 1 week కూడా రాదు.
మామూలుగా AWS లో ఒక కీ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకొని దాన్ని పుట్టి
పెన్ కీ. Yeah, please.
Yes sir, AWS కీ ఉంటుంది కదా మనం,
పెన్
కీ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకుంటాం, అది
పెన్
పెన్ కీ.
So that what?
సో ఇందులో కూడా అలా ఉంటుందా?
ఇక్కడ PEM key అవసరం లేదు. Just you can create your own key and you can pass it. Else you could create the pass. Yeah, that's what I'm going to just let me create Ubuntu VM.
key మళ్ళీ అప్లోడ్ చేయాలా సర్వర్?
Exactly. So there is a different ways to communicate. So AWS వాడు PEM key ఇస్తాడు. Azure వాడు they have own mechanism for the SSH. అలానే ఉండాలని రూల్ ఏం లేదు కదా. There are multiple options to use SSH. Ubuntu. Let's have
కామన్ యూజర్ నేమ్స్
so let's have the Ubuntu. This is the Ubuntu latest one. Very simple. See, if you generate, if you have any SSH key, just paste the SSH key. That's it. How do you generate the SSH key? Go back and generate here your own SSH key. So what I am doing, I don't want to go with it. Just try to create username and password myself. If you have the PEM key, appudu meer em chestunaru, you are generating your own SSH key and give it here and creating your VM. Whereas coming to the AWS and the GCP, they have given the PEM key. ఆ PEM key తెచ్చి మనం ఎక్కడ పెడతాము, ఇక్కడ పెట్టేస్తాం. అంటే ఇక్కడ మన అజూర్లో ఏం చేస్తున్నాం, వీఆర్ upfrontly creating the PEM key and uploading into it. So AWS and GCP, they will give the PEM key and put it here. That's it, very simple. Let's select this. The port should be 22 for SSH. It is RDP 3389. That must be allowed.
సాటర్డే ఉంటుంది.
Right. Splunk. SCIM. So to replace the Splunk, Microsoft came with the Sentinel, Azure Sentinel.
very famous ఉంది.
Splunk is very famous for the SIEM. So with less cost. Splunk చాలా expensive. So వాటికి ఆపోజిట్ ఇప్పుడు Sentinel వచ్చింది. So if you go to the AWS, you have to use the Splunk only. They don't have their own solution for SIEM. అలాగా different options అవైలబిలిటీలో ఉంటాయి. సో మీ ఎగ్జాక్ట్గా ఏ చూస్ చేసుకోవాలో చూస్. Okay, this is the Ubuntu with your machine. So how do you connect? Using the SSH. Very simple. Just copy.
డైరెక్ట్ కనెక్ట్
నేను PEM keyతో జనరేట్ చేయలేదు కదా. Not yet created.
PEM mandatory.
AWS lo PEM key mandate. After giving the PEM key, you have to create your own user, then you can log in with your own user. అక్కడ AWS
అసలు లేదు సార్ ఉబంటునే యూస్
Ubuntu default user. Then log into go to EC2 and host, create your own user, change the passwordless authentication. Then you can directly log in. You have to change the settings. This is the Ubuntu Linux virtual machines. You have to open the port 22 and you have to get using the log into the SSH. Okay. So నేను దీనికి ఒక హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ క్లాస్ తీసుకున్న తర్వాత when you talk about VMs, how the directory structure and how to create, how to install this third party tools and all. So we'll see the
థర్డ్ పార్టీ టూల్స్
ఇప్పుడు మనం డాకర్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేయాలనుకోవాలి
APT get
APT get CentOS అయితే ఏం that's the open source utilities, right?
repositories.
Utility repository కాదు utility. ఇప్పుడు విండోస్కి వచ్చే టైంకి చాకో these are all the utilities. Okay, so this is how you can connect to the Linux machine.
ఇప్పుడు డాకర్ మామూలుగా మీరు యూనిక్స్ లో చేస్తారా ఇందులో విండోస్ లో చేస్తారా రెండిట్లో
Linux లోనే చేద్దాం ఎందుకంటే so that is the most recommended. Docker is works on a kernel base, so kernel construct only for Linux. So Windows లో కూడా చేయొచ్చు బట్ విండోస్ లో చాలా తక్కువ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్స్ లో ఉంటుంది వేర్ ఎవర్ యూ గో విత్ ద లినక్స్ మిషన్ మీరు ఇక్కడే ప్రాక్టీస్ చేశారు అనుకోండి ఇట్ విల్ హెల్ప్ఫుల్ అలాట్. ఓకే మనకి ఇంకా 1 month టైం ఉంది డాకర్ వెళ్ళడానికి. ఓకే క్లియర్. సో ఐ విల్ షేర్ couple of commands when you talk about Linux machines in a daily basis. You regular ga vade commands untai kono. I will share all of this. As of now, just know it how to connect on Windows and Linux machines. Okay, tomorrow we'll meet at 8 o'clock. We'll go back to the networking again. We are 4 to 5 concepts pending from network. We'll complete it and again we'll come back to the VMs. Clear so far? Any doubts or any concerns?
ఎన్ని VMs పెట్టుకోవచ్చు అవైలబిలిటీ దాంట్లో?
Any VMs, you can create a number of VMs. There is no limitation for it.
Okay.
There is no limitation. See, by default, Microsoft will allow you to create 50 VMs. That is a limitation under one subscription. After 50 VMs, you have to raise a quota limit. So they will extend your quota under your subscription. You have to raise a ticket with the Microsoft with the quota limit. They will create them. They will give you the option to deploy more VMs. All the virtual machines associated with your zones availability comes. There is no restriction like 2000 virtual machines for one availability set. Ikkada ledu. A number of VMs you can associate it with the zones. So how do you create the ticket? Just go here, help and support. Just go to all support request. If you have already raised any support request, you can get. Else, just create a new support request. Here, what is the issue type? Billing or subscription limitations or quotas. Select the quota. Then this is your subscription.
కంపెనీ అకౌంట్ మేనేజర్స్ సెట్ చేస్తారు.
అలా ఏం లేదు. Let's assume that you are working on a virtual machine. You are facing one issue with that. You are unable to resolve that VM issue. You have to raise it. ఇది డిఫరెంట్ వేస్ ఉన్నాయి. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఇక్కడ టికెట్ ట్రై చేస్తే యూ హ్యావ్ టు టెల్ దెమ్ వాట్ ఈస్ ద సర్వీస్ యు ఆర్ ఎఫెక్టింగ్. లెట్స్ అజ్యూమ్ దట్ ఇస్ ఉబంటు VM. నేను డైరెక్ట్ ఉబంటు VM చేసి ఇక్కడ న్యూ సపోర్ట్ రిక్వెస్ట్ చేశాను అనుకో. పర్టికులర్ గా దిస్ విచువల్ మిషన్ హ్యాస్ సమ్ మిషన్ వాళ్ళకి అర్థం అవుతుంది. ఓకే, వెరీ రేర్ కేసెస్ లో మనం మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ కేసులు రైట్ చేస్తాం. వై? బికాస్ దట్ ఈస్ నాట్ ఎన్ ఫ్రీ సర్వీస్, రైట్? అగైన్ వీ హ్యావ్ 4 టైప్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా. సో సో when you would like to get resolve issues from Microsoft self, you have to write it. Else mostly మనమే రిజాల్వ్ చేసుకుంటాం. ఇంకా మన వల్ల అవ్వదు అన్నప్పుడు we have no option. Clear? So see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock.